Renfe announces possible expansion of Avlo low-cost high-speed services. So what happens when you have a proliferation of what used to be a high-cost product, right? You have economies of scale, which basically go ahead and allow what used to be, in layman's terms, things that used to be very expensive, because they're now being used a lot more and they have a lot more demand, now become less expensive. Remember these things? Okay, remember when Apple first came out with them? Nobody basically had them and they were ridiculously expensive. Now everybody's got one. And you can basically get one off of Amazon for like $90, some BS name out of China, like, Happy Smile Company or something like that, or Smeely. It sounds like Smiley, but it's Smeely. I don't know. Some BS, name, that it's from a Chinese company in Amazon. But, it's what it is. Look, point is, because Spain has been able to have a massive amount of usage of high-speed rail, because they've been building it for the longest. Well, they have the largest amount of networks outside of China, right? They have actually more high-speed rail trackage than Japan. I think the last time I checked, I think that's true. All right, that they have the second most amount of high-speed rail. Okay, not necessarily the best. Okay, but it's pretty good, right? That's one place I could probably go to. It shouldn't be that hard to get to Spain. So 5 class, 112 toggle Ave trains have been converted to the new Avlo specification. Okay, so Avlo is like the low cost. I think we've seen this in France, where they have the Wii service or something like that. But we see this in other places. They have lower cost services, right? In Japan, it's the Kodama service, which is a slower service. It goes to more stations. However, it costs about less than half the price than your regular Tokaido service. So that's what we need. So yeah, a demonstration service for the Spanish media operated between Madrid and Barcelona in late March. Renfe has already sold 200,000 Avlo tickets for the Madrid-Barcelona service, with fares starting at €7. €7 from Madrid to Barcelona. All right. We're going to end it on that article there, and we're going to take a little bit of a dive into this. €7 between Madrid and Barcelona. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this exact. €7 to USD, right? €7. Let's get the current rates. I believe it should be around the same now, because the euro has tanked a good amount from what it used to be. All right. So for $8.33, probably plus some tax, you can go from Madrid to Barcelona. All right. How far is Madrid to Barcelona? All right. Let's get that down there. Let's go to. Let me get Google Maps. And let's go. There we go. All right. There we are. We got Google Maps here. All right. It keeps thinking I'm in Florida, which is perfectly fine. The less Google knows, the better, as always. Alrighty, let's go across the pond and let's go over here. Madrid and Barcelona. Barcelona. Okay, let's do this. Madrid to, go put Madrid, right? And, just switch it up. Barcelona, Spain. Alright. So we got, it would take 6 hours and 8 minutes. That's 622 kilometers. That's about, what, like 400 miles or so? Okay. $83 for an hour and 20-minute flight. Again, we know how flights are. You have to go through TSA and whatnot and all that. So by the time it's an hour and 20-minute flight turns into like a 3-hour flight. Okay. And it's about 3 hours and 12 minutes by, I believe that's high-speed rail. Yep, by the Ave. 3 hours and 12 minutes by Ave. Okay, so there you go. So it'll probably take about 4 minutes. So that's the type of things we're talking about, guys. You have a choice, all right? You want to go ahead and drive from Madrid to Barcelona? You want to drive let's be exact over here, okay? Since we're mostly an American audience, right? For those of you guys who use the metric system, good on you. It probably makes more sense, right? That's about 400 miles. Okay, it's exactly 386 miles. Okay, so 622 kilometers is 386 miles, right? We'll put it's 386.49. We'll just say 390 miles, right? 390 miles, right? Let's just say 390. Okay. So about 400 miles or so, which is within the range of where high-speed rail really works. Okay, so look, we're doing some sort of discussion over here. This is exactly what we this is exactly the type of discussions we should be having with other people. So I probably should split this video off and just show this, because it will make sense. Okay, so I'm actually going to probably take this snippet part and talk about Madrid to Barcelona. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. So from Madrid to Barcelona, you can choose to take a 6-hour and 8-minute car ride, bearing that there is no sort of accidents or traffic or any sort of that. If it's all smooth sailing from there, okay, and if by any chance you have a car that has a 400-mile gas tank, there are some, unless you're a diesel car or something like that, which is a lot more common in Europe. You'll have these diesel Volkswagens or whatnot that get like 600 miles or so. Yeah, you can be able to go ahead on one tank. All right, so 6 hours and 8 minutes. Or you can go ahead and take a plane, and for from $83 at the cheapest, it'll be an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, from $83. However, connecting flights are probably cheaper, and those connecting flights are 3 hours and 15 minutes. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is what it is. Okay, so 3 hours and 15 minutes, $83. All right. We can go ahead and see what those actually are. Let me see if I can see the results in Google Flights. There we are. Let's go ahead and see that. All right. So Air Europa, $83, nonstop, an hour and 25 minutes. However, you're gonna have to add 30 minutes of headway each way, right? Okay. So we're taking about an hour or so. 2.5 hours to 3 hours, right? And then to get from the city center, you have to go from the airport. Which, again, look at where the airport is. If you want to go from Madrid city center, you're outside from the airport. So let's see if I want to go from the airport. Let's go from Madrid, Spain to Madrid, Barajas, Adolfo Suarez Airport. Okay, let's do that. So, Madrid, Spain to El Aeropuerto. Let's do that. Here we are. All right. Well, you can't take a plane from city center to city center, but it will take you a 23-minute car ride. Again, bearing that there is no traffic, no sort of stoppage, or any construction or anything like that. All right. So another 30 minutes, 21 minutes, adding onto there, that's going to be about a 3-hour ride or a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. All right, let's go back to what we were doing over here. So let's go back to Barcelona, right? And again, we'll say the same thing for Barcelona, which again is part of Catalonia right now, or whatever. The shortest lived country. For, what was it, like 8 seconds or something like that? They're still LARPing that they're a country. All right. So where's the airport? About the same amount of time outside there. Yeah. So there's the airport. There's Barcelona city center. All right. So about 15-30 minutes outside of the urban area, right? So let's go if you want to take it by train. All right. The AVE is 3 hours and 12 minutes. What does it take you? It takes you basically from the city center right over here. It's right next to this massive park here, Parque Retiro. Takes you right out of there and takes you right into Barcelona. Right out of another park. Right there. So there you go. All right. And what is the cost of this? Let's see if we can see the details. All right. Well, there we go. Let's get the cost of the... Let's go ahead and see that. Let's see. To Barcelona. Okay. Let me see. All right, Madrid to Barcelona by train. Here we are. According to Rail Europe, the cheapest price is $38. All right, and the fastest journey is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, 2 hours and 30 minutes by train. So that's probably an express train that goes from there. Although you can probably get a mid. Okay, so you can get between $38 $289, so about the same price as an airline. You can get, from between that to go from 2 hours and 30 minutes to about 3 hours and 12 minutes. So this whole BS that you have Randy O'Toole on the Cato Institute saying that trains are slow, actually, they're not. They're about as fast, if not faster, than airlines. Okay, and we see this is about 400 miles apart. Two cities that are about 400 miles apart. If you go to cities that are 300 miles apart, that becomes an even bigger blowout where trains get there easily 30 minutes ahead of your plane. And that's just facts, right? So now we're talking about that they're going to have a service that's $8, basically. $8. And they've already sold all the tickets. They already sold all the tickets for the first amount of fares because everybody's now going to go from Madrid to Barcelona and fares starting at just €7. Okay? And how fast is that going to be? It's probably going to be a little bit slower, maybe an hour or so, slower. Okay? But guess what? You're probably going to have a lot more room to stretch out. You're going to be able to go ahead and walk around. You're going to be able to actually eat human food, not peanuts that they throw on you on Ryanair or anything like that. Okay, if they don't even give you food on some of these airlines. Like Spirit Airlines over here doesn't give you anything. You have to pay for water. Yes, right. You have to pay for water. You have to pay for a mask if by any chance your mask isn't up to spec for Spirit Airlines, which is wrong. They should give you a mask, period, if you don't have a mask that's up to their spec. So look at that. On a visit to Sevilla, where Avlo expansion announcement was made, Renfe President Mr. Isaiah Tobaos also confirmed that the operator will be involved in plans by the Andalusian regional government to develop a unified public transport tariffs and ticketing system. All right, so probably what that means is having a ticketing system where you can just be able to go ahead and from your phone be able to go ahead and get the same transit ticket to the train ticket, which will be a lot easier. Tobaos announced that the company expects demand to bounce back following the pandemic, with passenger numbers expected to reach 70% of 2019 levels by the end of 2021. Right? So they already have the system in place. They already had the infrastructure in place. Okay? They've already have themselves set for the long term. Okay? And they'll be able to bounce back a lot easier than we can. While over here in the United States, if as long as we can get ourselves back to work and get ourselves to be building these type of systems, whenever some sort of other economic disaster happens like this, at least it will be easier for us to get back to work. We have to enable us to have these tools available. Passenger ridership on the Cercanías suburban services in major cities reached 50% of pre-pandemic in April. Okay, whereas it's funny, in the United States, we're still lagging behind a lot of our passenger rail. There are still places that have not even reached 50%. There are places that are, still close to 20%, if even, of their original passenger line. I believe Amtrak said that they're hoping to get, this year back to 20% of what they had before. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe that's what it is. But still, they're thinking they can get 50%. Whether that be true or not, that still remains up for debate in the future from this current point in time when we're doing this video. Although demand for high-speed interrail travel remains suppressed, with Renfe operating around 40% of the previous timetable. Okay, so again, they'll ramp up and they'll be able to get back into service. But that's what it is. This is the type of thing we want to bring into the United States. When this technology matures to a point, then we can be able to have services that can afford to give, poorer citizens or people, millennials and Zoomers like us, to be able to go ahead and have, rail services, for $8, where you can go 400 miles and then $8 go back. You know what $8 buys you here in the United States? Okay, that's a whole McDonald's meal. That's a whole McDonald's meal for $8. Not even some McDonald's meals are more expensive than that, right? So for the price of McDonald's, you can go ahead and go 400 miles. That is insane. We need that here. All right. So we're going to